My name is Mona Polacca, and I'm a member of the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers. We're visiting here at the invitation of a Sami grandmother to come and visit Sweden. And so we are here in Stockholm sharing some of our knowledge and sharing some of our ceremonies with the people of Sweden. And one of the other things that we do is we also talk about some of the issues that are facing the indigenous people of the world. And in particular, I am from the Havasupai, Hopi, and Tewa people of the Southwest in Arizona, in North America. And one of the concerns that we are dealing with right now is environmental issues, and in particular it's the uranium mining that is now occurring above the Grand Canyon. The Havasupai people, they're called the people of the blue water, and they live in the bottom of the Grand Canyon. If you're not familiar with the Grand Canyon, it is a vast canyon land that is said to have been formed by the mighty Colorado River. And the Havasupai live in what they call a cataract canyon of the Grand Canyon, and there's a little stream, a creek that goes through there, the Havasu Creek, and it's down inside the canyon, and above the canyon is where there is uranium mining. The uranium mines are up on top, and so there has been uranium mining that has been coming up all over. But in particular, we're very concerned about the location of this mining that is on the top above the canyon, because we all know that it hasn't been proven that uranium mining is, or even exposure to uranium or any of the residues of uranium have not been proven to be safe. Yet this mining is occurring on top there on the above the Grand Canyon, and if there should be a breach of the tailing ponds up there on top where the waters will run down into the canyon, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that the waters are going to become contaminated, as well as the lands at the bottom of the canyon will become contaminated. The point I'd like to make is that the Colorado River isn't just a source of water that the people, the tribes along the Colorado River depend on, but the Colorado River provides water to California. Southern California draws their water off of the Colorado River. And so if the Colorado River becomes contaminated, that means that all of the waters that the people depend on, other populations besides the tribes, they stand to also become affected by the contamination of these waters. Our tribal community down at the bottom of the canyon is a very small tribe. They're very small. The area of land that they live on is 1 mile wide and 3 miles long. So if you consider that, this is their traditional homelands. They've lived there from time immemorial. They haven't located. They haven't left that place because they've been told, we believe that Creator's the one who put us in that place. And so, we're the indigenous people of that canyon. And they haven't chosen to move. But should this uranium mining continue, there is, if there's a catastrophe involving that uranium mining, then where are these people going to go? And this is the situation that faces many indigenous peoples throughout the world who are now being impacted by many of these various multinational corporation extractive industries for oil, for uranium, for the waters and other minerals that are being extracted out of Mother Earth. It's in places where the indigenous people have been able to live there, and some have chosen to live in isolation from the rest of modern society. They've chosen to live that way. But since these corporations, they look at these lands and they see that they are undeveloped, they even call those parts of the world undeveloped countries. When you put that kind of label to that piece of land, then it's almost kind of like putting a tag on it to say that this land needs to be, they consider it used, whereas on the other side of it, the indigenous people are using it, they're taking care of it and keeping it in its natural state. But when it's termed undeveloped, that means that there's this value system that's being imposed on this land and to be developed. And so this is, these are some of the concerns that we have about what's happening throughout the world for indigenous people and the protection of their lands and territories and their water and the nature of Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakota grandmothers on their lands, they also were faced with the same situation where there were, I think it was, I can't remember what it's called, but it's where they do core drillings to determine how deep the uranium is in the earth, and they do taking samples. And they were doing that on the Lakota grandmother's land, and they were trying to, stop it. They don't want to have the mining come in. And so they brought it to the Grandmother's Council table, and we supported them. And we also wrote letters. We wrote letters to the company that was going to be, that was buying up leaseholds in that area, so they could begin to identify where they were going to do the mining. And the grandmothers, we wrote letters asking them not to do the mining. We tried to go to their heart and say, think about your children if you have children, grandchildren, think about them. You wouldn't want them to suffer from diseases and things like that. We also, if you think about how the indigenous people are rurally isolated and don't have access to health care, even just simple health care, let alone if there's any kind of diseases or that are related to contaminated waters and lands by uranium mining, that requires specialty care. And the people there, indigenous people, don't live in areas where they can access that kind of care, nor do we have the money to finance health care that's required. So we were trying to appeal to their hearts and ask them to take that into consideration, that already we have, we're limited in how we could respond to any kind of situation that might arise in regard to our health care or in regard to any kind of environmental kinds of catastrophes. Of course, we didn't get any response. What we then did was we supported a group that, what we did was we wrote letters to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, appealing to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to not issue any permits for the mining to occur in that area. What's happened so far in as far as the mining at the Havasupai lands and other places, I know for sure as far as the Havasupai lands are concerned is there was an outcry, there was a effort to stop it. And so what happened was the United States government, what they call the Department of Interior, the director then issued what he called a moratorium on issuing any more uranium mining permits in the Grand Canyon area. However, that didn't apply to all of the permits that were already in the process of being issued, which numbered something close to about over 100 permits, which meant that those permits that were already in the process, the mining companies said, well, you know, it's already been approved anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start mining. And so the mining has been activated in that area. And so the mining moratorium in that area of the Grand Canyon has been, I believe the term of that moratorium is around, I believe it's something like about 50 years, which means there will not be any more permits issued. So this is a real concern to us.